the stream. This is session number 3 of writing live sprints in November. And today I have the lovely Brielle with me. Brielle, you want to say hey to the people? Introduce yourself.
Hello to the people. I'm Brielle. My channel is Brielle Writes, and I'm so excited that Andy's having me on today.
Who else? Who else to have? Um, Well, yeah, today I think we're going to be continuing to work on our November kind of drafting challenges we've got going on. Why doesn't everybody go ahead and drop in the chat what they're working on? We've got a lot of people saying hello. Alyssa, this is a fair question. No, not really. I have been sick since last week. Hold on. I've been sick since last week and it got way worse over the weekend. So I did have a sick day today and sat on the couch, watched The Breakfast Club. So excuse me if I cough or just in general sound horrible the whole time that we're here. But thanks for asking. Yeah. I'll try to rein it back. I'm sorry.
Aw.
That's gross. So let's change the subject. How's everyone else doing? Brielle, you talk.
Oh, well, I mean, I am also not doing great today because I'm just in the period thralls right now. So I also spent a lot of today on the couch, but I'm excited to write tonight, so that should be fun.
Yeah,
Um
we're going
yeah.
through the thick of it together, which I think is great. So
Yes.
all right, we've got Natalie in the chat. Let's see. Tia is here. Oh, we look so cute. That's kind. So cute.
Thanks.
Thanks. The other Alyssa is here.
Hi, Alyssa.
Ashley, Ari. Yes, Breakfast Club is the best. And I was just telling Brielle before this started that was my first time watching it start to finish. Like I'd seen scenes from it or chunks, but I'd never watched it the whole way through. And I will say I'm obsessed. So Mark says, hey. Alyssa on chapter 1. The Devil's Waterfall is out to
21.
this all. Oh, this is a reference to being sick. I thought this was a reference to something in your book. And I was like, what's the Devil's Waterfall in chapter 21? That's crazy. But chapter 21, you're flying. That's really far through. I know you passed 50K, Alyssa, because I watched your video today. I watched it. Where are you at right now, though? Like, have you written since then, or are you reaching 55? Because I feel like you probably would be by now, because you're that
Dude, how crazy. We're all
crazy.
impressed. We're all
All
impressed.
impressed, like deeply. Yes. Sick and she's the combo of us. That's awesome.
Sorry to hear that. That's awesome, she says.
Sarcastically awesome for you. That's not awesome. Kind of like the thing where you're like, it's, yeah. Anyway, moving
Yeah.
on. Other Alyssa has a bedroom. Oh no, you're a main Alyssa also. You're not just the other Alyssa. But you guys spell it differently, which helps it keep it separate, you know?
Absolutely.
Currently working on random scenes from the sci-fi fantasy novel because I cannot write a start to finish anything for the life of me. This was me until less than 12 months ago. So there's hope. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You just got to keep going. You got this, Olivia. Working on drafting Project Money Piece tonight. I still love that working title, by the way. Or I don't know if that's just your project name or if that's your working title, but I think it's great. Manuscript is 18K words. Maybe we'll hit 20. You can hit 20K. You can do it. Just
Yeah,
go.
you totally can do it. Also, I was thinking the same thing about the title of this project. I almost asked in another stream, is this a working title or just a nickname? Because I really like it.
Well, now we're both curious, so you better let us know. Alyssa, 50K in one word. That's where it's at.
Respect.
I love
Yeah.
that. Natalie, I've always had this random idea, completely not fleshed out yet, about Breakfast Club, but make it YA fantasy. You better write
Yo.
that so I don't steal it because I'm obsessed with that right off the bat. Oh my gosh, what if you just went through and watched 80s films and said, how can I do a retelling of this in a new genre? That could be
Yes.
a whole thing an author does. You could make a
I would
career
be
out of that.
sad. I would be sad.
Natalie, take it on. We want to see a footloose out of you. I think I'll try to figure out my villain tonight. That's exciting. That's exciting. Okay. Yes, yes. Join us at the highest point of combo. Yeah, from now on, Alyssa in the books is the other Alyssa. So, Brat Pack, but make it fantasy stop. No, seriously.
No,
It's a
seriously.
working title, but I don't like boxing myself in. Fair enough. Fair enough. Just know that there's some love out there for that.
Mm-hmm. We
Natalie,
support
I'd
it.
have to invite you to co-author probably. I feel like I couldn't just take that from you. There's
Yeah,
like
that's too genius. Too genius.
Yes, let's just make fairies who aren't allowed to dance in the woods. So one fairy rebels and says, "Let us dance."
That's amazing. Okay, Andy, concept.
You can do it where like one village isn't allowed to use their magic, but the surrounding villages are. So they rebel and they do their magic. I don't know. I'm running out of fantasy ideas, guys. I think I might only have one fantasy in me, and then I'm probably done. Let us dance. We want to see a lose out of you. Sorry, I think I'm a
Wait,
little bit like what's this called? Slap happy from sitting on the couch and not interacting with anyone else. Not Alyssa, let the fairies dance. Okay, I'm
that's
gonna move on
amazing.
and stop giggling. I'm gonna move on and stop giggling. Oh, a Top Gun fantasy. Yes, you could.
I hate Top Gun. Hot take.
I'm
Is that
sorry.
a
Do you
hot
mean that
take?
about both of them or just the first one? First
I
of
guess
all, they're both
both.
criminal to hate either of them, but
I guess both. Sorry. I am a hater of Top Gun. I
oh,
am.
wow. Can you tell the people why? Give us some. This is like Alyssa saying she doesn't like animals for me. By the way,
Really? I
no,
just
it's
think
not that serious.
it's very intended for a male audience, in my opinion, and so
Sure.
they lose me with a lot of the hyper masculinity of it all, I
Are
guess.
you in general like are action movies like that? Do you have action
Yeah.
movies that you enjoy, or just in general they're a wash?
There's like occasional ones that I like, but for the most part, not my vibe, I would say. Hmm.
Sure, sure. How do
Yeah.
you feel about like Marvel or Star Wars, any of that stuff?
Eh.
Okay.
uh,
Sure.
Star Wars was okay. I need to stop. I'm gonna get myself in a hole real
No,
quick.
no, okay, here's the thing, I love Star Wars, but it is the kind of thing that's like my dad had me watching Star Wars when I was 5, so then it was like I
Right.
loved it, but I empathize with the people who don't watch it till they're even in their, like, teens, like, when you watch it at 11 or not 11, like, 13 or 14, it says teens and then says 11. Anyway, I feel like if you do watch it later than young adolescence, it can be
Yeah.
easy to go, "Hmm," you know?
Right.
Especially because
Right.
the CGI isn't the best, and if you grew up in our age, we were seeing better CGI come into play.
Mhm.
So, it's
Mhm.
easy to be like,
Yeah.
"Ooh."
Yeah. I think even Lord of the Rings, anything that, in my opinion, is like geared towards a male audience, I struggle with a little bit. I know you love Lord of the Rings, Andy. I love you so much.
It's okay, I take no personal offense to your opinions, that's totally okay. That's totally okay. I'm thinking to
Uh,
myself, it's because you don't understand it. That's why you don't. If you understood, you'd love it, I'm sure.
right. 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 Right.
That's so funny.
Uh,
Absolutely agree, Brielle, but we all make the characters women. Oh, sure. Yeah, yeah.
there you go. That
This
could
is
work for Top
probably
Gun.
literally how yeah, I mean, make us all just badasses in a female army, and then it's like, go off. Have you seen that movie Woman King?
Oh, that sounds familiar. Was that with the lions? Are there lions?
I don't know. It is in like a
No.
safari setting, kind of.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, safari setting. That's ringing a
But
bell.
anyway,
Ringing a bell.
yeah, it's good. Moving on. Oh, you've got some supporters in the chat.
Thank you. Thank you. Oh,
Oh,
can
and
we
he
go
wants
to
to ask some people brainless action flick. Yeah.
mm,
You don't like bro music and explosions. Wow, you got a lot of support.
okay. That makes me feel better.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
Ren, I'm with you here. I'm also a huge Star Wars fan, so that's okay. That's
mm.
okay. All right. Well, yeah, Tommy's calling you out there. Hottest of takes.
Also, I just want to disagree with Anna's comment real quick because
Oh,
I don't think that is a one-to-one correlation there. There's plenty of romance in some of these more male
there's romance in
geared.
Top Gun.
Yeah,
Is it
there's
just a
plenty of
one night
romance in
stand?
Top
Sure,
Gun.
but it's romance.
Right. So I would argue that this is not quite the case. I think it's just
Sure.
I prefer things that feel like they're through more of a female lens, maybe. I don't know. I don't think
Yes.
it has to have romance.
Okay. Fair.
Anyway.
Yeah, I'll be the first to admit, while I do love a movie that's action, I do like a bro movie. But if
Mm,
there's romance involved, I'm sad. And
yeah. I
that's
do
a
love
feeling.
romance. Don't get it
Yeah.
twisted. But it's not like it needs to be in
Sure.
every story I enjoy.
No, that's fair.
So
That's good. That means
yeah.
you like a plethora of things.
Yeah, she's dynamic. And not everything that's geared towards women is solely romance, of course.
Sure.
Um, anyway, yeah.
Sure. This is cracking me up. Come
Oh,
on. Riel's channel can only go up. Drama, for real, for real. Okay, well, I had it in my head, and you can totally object to this, but that we would do 2 sprints tonight, maybe 30 minutes each, slightly longer, just 2. How's that sound, everyone?
I'm down for that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Everyone in the chat sound okay with 30 minutes, or do we wanna do 25? Because 'Cause I'm also okay with 25. I need romance or I will leave the building. See, Alyssa, I do relate to this.
Respect.
I am sad when there's romance involved, so,
I'm also sad
um
when there's romance, for sure.
yes. Okay, I'm gonna take this as a green light for 30-minute sprints. We've got a couple sounds good. All right. Well, let's go ahead and hop in the first one. I think if you want to do questions after the first one, Brielle, we can kind of have people plan on asking some things. So, uh, Alyssa, I think my caps lock is stuck on. This would check out because you said everything in caps lock.
I
Anyway,
love
okay.
that.
Well, let's hop into the first sprint. I'm going to stop yapping. And everyone, good luck. You can do this. And we'll meet back here in about 30 minutes. I do need to add focus to the screen. 1 second. That's on me.
You're good. Take your time. I'll fill in some gaps for you sometimes that you don't feel pressure. Hey, guys.
There you go. Entertain the people. Okay, here we go. Good luck, everybody.
Good luck. Hey. Oh,
No, I just removed myself.
I was like, "Where'd she go?"
Going. How'd your sprint go?
Good, I got 867 that time. How about you?
Dang. I need to do math as always. Let me see. It looks like I got 9, like just under 1,000, like 980 something.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's great.
yeah, it was good. It sounds like you had a great word count too. What scene are you writing?
I'm writing like a little there's a lot of like stuff being explained about the magic system right now as
Ooh,
they're like healing one of them. So it's like a fun
ooh,
little combination of like action and also like world building stuff. So I'm having a lot of fun with it. It's been very enjoyable. Also, my hand is starting to cramp from typing, which has never been a thing before, but 'tis the season, I guess.
yeah, that happened to me the beginning of November when I was trying to do, like, I feel like I've
Mm,
been writing more sporadically now where, like, I'll just do bigger word counts on random days, whereas the first 2 weeks of November was very much 1,600 a day, and my feet
right.
were hurting, or my feet,
Yeah.
hands. Guys, my brain is sick too, I can't.
I
Okay.
think the worst of it was on my writing retreat day. I was really
Mm.
feeling it. I was like, whoo.
Didn't you do, like, 1,000 or 5,000 words in a day or something for that?
It was like 6 point something. So it was
Yeah,
substantial.
that'll do it to you. It
Yeah.
really will. Alyssa, about 1,000 words for me, ended up doing some chapter outlining first and then scheduling some live streams. I mean, that sounds like
Nice.
a really productive 30 minutes. 547 words for that sprint, got distracted by my dog. Natalie, your dog's adorable. I don't think I'd ever really noticed your dog until your most recent video, and I was like, "I need to pet that dog." Not that I
So
can,
cute.
dog's so far away, but looked so cute. Um, 653 words, villain established. Woo, woo. 8 in the
Ooh.
works to establish my world, very exciting. Forgot this window was open. I was like, "Yeah, that's happening a couple times for sure." Killing it. Ari had 355.
Nice.
Ren made some progress reading Save the Cat. Last month, I pants too close to the sun, so I'm taking a step back to figure out how to get where I need to go. For a second there, I read that sentence and thought, "Is too close to the sun a project name? Like you pants too close to the sun?" But now I'm realizing you meant like you flew too close to the sun. It was too much. That's really funny.
Too
Oh
Close to
well,
the Sun is kind of a cool book name. Someone
I
write Too
know.
Close to the Sun.
That's the whole premise could be someone doing too much and then getting burned. Okay,
Mhm.
healing. Yes, Brielle with the healing. Alyssa, you'd be really proud of me. I just wrote my first kidnapping scene into my book. So, things are
Wow.
happening. Bags got put over heads, people got knocked out. It's like, "What?" I felt very Alyssa in that moment.
I love the bags being thrown over heads. I have
Love
one
a
of
bag
those.
over a head. It's classic. Caitlin, hello. Thanks for coming in. No words for me. Oh,
Hi,
I think
Caitlin.
oh, yeah. Hi, Caitlin. No words for me. Making custom sugar cookies and spent the writing sprint working on a design for an order next. Do you bake? Ashley,
Ooh.
you gotta let us in on some of this baking. That sounds so good.
Mhm. Custom sugar cookies.
I do type with my feet. Thank you. I appreciate this recognition of my word slip earlier. 372. Sounds like everyone had a great sprint.
Mhm.
433, about 1,000 words. Everyone's doing great.
Nice.
600. Awesome, guys. Well, hey, if you want to drop some questions in the chat, I know Brielle and I would love to answer a few. Um,
Totally.
yeah, I'd love to chat about it. Let's see. Why is this my brain? Yeah. No, I expect to see a kidnapping in every book that you ever write. So
Yeah.
be prepared. All right. Well, I just
Oh,
realized that inciting incident of my book is kidnapping, literally of children. Oh, okay.
right.
I hope I hope the children end up okay and that that's the whole arc. That's all
Yeah.
I have to say about that. But no, Miley, I'm sure it's great. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure you don't mean to kidnap children. Well, anyone have any fun questions, or are Brielle and I just gonna have to chat it up? Tia says my incident is kidnapping too. Wow, Alyssa, you started a movement, I feel.
That's
When
crazy. I mean, I
I
feel like
mean,
it also depends, what are we calling kidnapping? Because if you stretch
sure,
it for any time that people show up and take your character on some sort of new adventure, like, you could call certain things a kid. You could argue there's
that's
some
true.
kidnapping in Harry Potter. It depends
Yeah,
what we're calling
no,
it.
mine definitely falls within that realm. Like PETA gets taken for hostage in
Mhm.
Mockingjay Part 2. Is that kidnapping?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I feel like kidnapping in my mind really does pertain to, like, contemporary books that are, like, in this
Same.
world, someone gets kidnapped, you know? But maybe I'm
Same.
wrong. So maybe I didn't just write a kidnapping incident. Maybe I just wrote someone getting a bag thrown over their head. I don't know.
Uh,
Where do you get your story inspo from? Any favorite movies or books that are sources of inspiration for you? Great question. You wanna take this one first, Brielle?
oh, I was well, in terms of like an initial idea, I would say I normally can't actually pinpoint where that came from because it feels more just like it spontaneously appeared. But in terms of like once I'm starting to work on a project, I feel like I do the typical things, Pinterest board, looking at visuals. I do feel like a lot of my favorite fantasies have impacted my voice or style in one way or another. Like I feel like Sarah J. Maas is a big influence. And actually, I was reading Sarah J. Maas the other day, specifically A Court of Mist and Fury, and I was like, wait a second, this is way closer to the tone I'm going for than I even realized. So I think I'm gonna
Mm,
use her more for like vocal training of my writing.
mm.
Um, but yeah, I guess that's my answer.
Yeah, that's really good. I feel like mine is a whole slew of things. Like whatever book I'm reading, if I like it, I feel inspired by it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like every time I read a contemporary romance, I'm like, I have to go write one of these. And then
Yeah.
I read a fantasy and I'm like, I'm obsessed. So I just am all over the place. Like I read The Martian and was like, could I write sci-fi? And then I was like, I'm not
Right.
smart enough for this. That man literally studied space engineering to write that book. So I'm like, that's not for me. But um I think I'm easily malleable in terms of like what's flowing as inspiration on the day of. Um, for me, one thing that has really inspired this series specifically in terms of dialogue, and I said this in my most recent video, but um, Noah Kahan Stick Season album, for some reason, a few select songs, the like mood given in the lyrics has really inspired some of my dialogue. Um,
Mm,
and I don't know why, because it has not those songs are not even similar at all to the fantasy vibe that I'm going for in my book. So some of the things that inspire me are really hard little invisible strings to explain or articulate, but they just work. Like I hear them and it's like my character just said it. You know what I mean? Um,
mhm.
in terms
Yes.
of like epicness, I've also said I listen to a lot of movie soundtracks when I'm writing or like movie scores. Um, and that tends to push me into like the epic good versus evil mantra of things, which I do feel inspired by just that general narrative in terms of fantasy, at least. My contemporary romance that I started earlier in the summer, and I think I've said this before too, but um, that one I was inspired by grief that stemmed back to when my great grandmother passed away. So sometimes it's events in my life that like it's not like a dark version of grief, but like a beautiful version of like how beautifully love and grief can intertwine. And that inspired like what if I wrote a book and a story about that to give
Mm,
people who have grieved something a bit of healing like in their grief. So for me it's all over the map. It depends on where I'm at that day and where my emotions are at. But in general, yeah, epic movie scores are probably my most generic answer that works all
mm.
the time for me. So, anyway.
Yeah. I also really resonate with what you said about like just like whatever you're consuming at the moment influences your writing because I feel the same. And even if it's completely unrelated, like if I consume something creative that I enjoy, I do feel like it influences how I approach writing in that era of time. Even like I've been
Mhm.
rewatching the Harry Potters and like not in any sort of like pinpointable concrete way, but I can feel the influence of like the heart of that series like
Yeah,
seeping its way into my writing and just like maybe thematically or even just like yeah that core heart. So it's interesting
yeah.
how things influence us even subconsciously.
Did you grow up reading that series? Like, was that
uh
a pinpoint of adolescence for you?
Yeah, Harry Potter and Percy Jackson are like the cornerstone series for me.
That's so fun. See, for
Yeah.
your Percy Jackson and Harry Potter is Narnia and Lord of the Rings for me, which I do feel like people
Mm,
tend to fall well, Narnia and Harry Potter tend to have a lot of overlap, I feel like, in terms of
yeah.
fandoms, but, um, yeah, I feel the same way. Those were, like, B ones for me. Harry Potter, I never read past the 2nd one. I and that's not a hate on the series. I know. I enjoyed them. I did. But yeah, I don't know. I just never finished them. I'd love to,
Mhm.
though. I love the movies, which I know is like the books are probably a million times better, so don't even get me started, I'm aware.
Oh, but the movies are great. And to be fair, I read the book so long ago now that my perception of the series is realistically more tied to the movies because I
Yeah,
rewatch them all the time. Like I can quote them to death.
yeah,
And the movies are great. Like,
they are.
they snapped with that adaptation.
Well, they really did, and that imagery is so vivid, like, they really went all out
Yes.
in the production of those, so it makes sense that your mind kind of sticks with those images, but,
Mhm.
um, this is fun. Hi, Anna.
Hi.
Great to see you. Thanks for joining. What are some funny quirks, habits, or sayings of your fave characters in your project? That's cute, I like that. I have to think
Mm.
for a second.
Quirks, habits, or sayings.
I don't know if any of my
Um,
characters have sayings, which is unfortunate. I'm now realizing that might be a thing that needs to be like, they say funny things, but not repetitively. So I'm like, is that
mhm.
something I need to work in? Um, my main character, my FMC, has a habit of being real hot and cold. She goes back and forth pretty extremely on the emotional spectrum, and when she first meets the male main character, the love interest, he has the same nasty habit, so their relationship is a little hot and cold in the beginning, hence the enemies
Mm.
portion. But other than that, I do have a character that I very much feel I self-wrote myself into in the 2nd book, named Raylan, who is just she's quirky that she always walks fast, like, she's always described as walking quickly, but she's short, and so that's totally me self-writing in because we went over this in the last stream, but I'm 5 foot tall, but I walk faster than all my friends, and they're always like, "Slow down." So, she's, like, kind of bubbly and loud and optimistic and walks really fast and is short, and so those are her quirks,
Mm.
and they're basically me on a page, so
I love that. Um, so my main character did have a word that she was like known for using, but I hated it, so I scrapped it. So alas, she no longer has a word. Um,
You know
and
the
I
word?
can't think of I do, but I simply can't. I simply can't say it. It's dead
Okay,
lore. It's dead lore, dead fish in the water.
sure.
Um, I can't think of anything, like, funny, but, like, I have one character who plays with, like, a necklace he has whenever he's, like, distressed, and
Mm,
he's very much the, like, unshakable one of the group, so I kind of like that the only way you can tell that he's, like, upset is through this, like, um, compulsion or, like, this habit that he has. So I like playing with that, and then I also really like playing with how characters move around each other. For example, I have
mm,
certain characters that always gravitate towards each other in a room or, like, they always stand slightly behind the person and it reveals how they feel in just like where they stand, you know? So
yeah.
I like playing with things like that sometimes.
No, that's good. I feel like that's the kind of thing that, readers will pick up on those dynamics and see those strings between like, the other day you were talking about side characters,
Mhm.
and if your side characters have that kind of consistency, then it feels like, for some reason, when I read ACOTAR, I always felt like there was a tie between the moodiness of Asriel and Amren, even though they didn't
Mm.
really have a ton of, like, direct, like, buddy-buddy moments. I felt like they were a different manifestation of the same host problem in a person.
Mm. Mhm.
And I don't know if she meant that when she wrote it, but I felt like their characters often filled a room in the same way.
Yeah, I can see that. That's so
They're like
interesting.
the dark, moody, quiet one in the corner who mostly just has
Yeah.
something snarky to say when their opening comes in a conversation, so,
Right,
um,
right.
anyway, which you can never have more than enough characters like that in a book, for sure.
Yes.
This is a fun one. What's your preferred POV to write and or read, like first person or third person? Um, Generally curious because I'm so picky on this. Good question.
I've never seen Gen Q. That's so
I'm
fun.
I'm guessing Gen Q means genuinely curious. I just kind of went for
I
that.
love that.
Hopefully that was correct, Olivia. Take it away.
Um I think I have a preference for first person for sure.
Mm,
Um, or close third, but I think first is my favorite. And for both reading and writing, I would be shocked if I started writing anything in third person unless it was like there was a ton of POVs. Then I think it makes sense.
mhm.
Um, but yeah, I like the closeness from first person. I want to be in their head, you know? How do
Yeah.
you feel?
90% of everything I've ever written is in first person, but there's a wild 10% of me that just shows up on the page sometimes. Like, I've talked
Mm.
about how in my first book, my male MC came out as third person when I started writing him on the page. So my female main character was first person present, and my male MC was third person past. So, is that something I'll end up revising? Maybe, but that's just how it came out and how I got connected to the character when I was drafting it. Um, Similarly, my contemporary romance is third person, and that will stay that way for sure because
Mm.
that's just the way the story exists in my head. So that's really interesting to me how some characters like really come to you in a strong first person voice where you feel like you get to step into their existence and tell the story through their eyes. But then
Mm.
sometimes I feel like the main character in my romantic contemporary book is named Marnie, and I cannot get in her head to save my life, but I know who she is. I could have a conversation
Mm.
with her on the street, but I could only ever perceive her through my eyes, never through hers. And so that's how I have to
Wow.
tell her story. So anyway, characters exist very strongly in my head that way, where I just either can or cannot tap into them, but that doesn't mean I don't get to tell their story while I'm at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that is fascinating. I just got chills hearing you talk about that. Guys,
Oh,
I can I hype up Andy for a second? I love the way that Andy talks about writing. Like
oh,
truly, like you can tell her heart is just so in it and she cares about her characters and her story so deeply. So,
I'm
yeah.
about to cry. That's so kind. Thank you.
Of
That's so sweet.
course.
Okay, maybe one more, and then we'll jump into another sprint. The third Harry Potter is the best. Well, the third Harry Potter movie is really great, so I have no doubt that that's accurate. Caitlin, Brielle squeak at the Harry Potter comment, kill me. So yeah, that's fair. Um, okay, there was one more question that was good that I want to touch on.
Okay.
Sonia, are there any goal genres or topics you want to write about in the future? Something totally out of your comfort zone. Ooh, fun. You're shaking your head yes. So
Yeah.
again,
Can
kick
I
us
take
off.
this as an opportunity to tell people about the project Swimming in My Consciousness?
Yes, I
So
will be letting you know.
So I haven't actually mentioned this in a vlog yet, but I've been voice memoing frantically to friends, including Andy, because I really want to resurrect a contemporary coming of age short film that I wrote into a novel. So that's like very out of my wheelhouse. I never thought I would write a contemporary that's not a romance.
Hmm.
So, but this would be a very like familial relationship focus between like an older sister and a younger brother, and I'm still not sure if I would put some sort of twist on the genre, like add some sort of magical element or not, but I'm really excited about that idea. So that's like on the back burner and very much out of my comfort zone, at least as far as novels go. So,
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if you relate to this, but I feel like the reason my first book, Joy, as she was called, ow! I just slapped my hand on my desk.
are you
Okay.
okay?
Guys, thanks for hanging in with me. I am stuffed nose, coughing, banging my hands on things, and tripping over all my words. Your
I'm
patience
dead.
is appreciated. Anyway, the book is called Joy, and it was super familial relation. It's based on a mother-daughter relationship and a father-daughter relationship. Uh, hold on, I'm so sorry. My dad was dropping. Oh gosh, that's so funny. That's so funny. It's actually fun because you always just
Oh,
see
I'm dead.
distracting me from my answer. Stop being funny. Um, Anyway, okay, yeah, that book was super familial and very, I mean, just real world stuff, which
Mhm.
I love books that I was just telling Amina this actually in a voice memo. We started voice memoing, which is so fun. I know
Stop!
we're becoming besties.
That's amazing.
But we were voice memoing, and I was telling her that like she asked what I like to read, and I was like, all genres. I love them all, except for no hate, Alyssa, but I really don't handle thrillers well. So I pick them selectively based off if they'll send me into scary times or not. But I I crave the kind of books that make me think and reflect on life,
Mm,
and I wanna be that kind of a writer someday, and that's how I feel about the Joy Project, and then also this other project that I have started, the other contemporary romance. Those both feel like works that are important to me, um, and this fantasy series feels important, and there's definitely an underlying message in it, but because it's not in the real world, I get to make the rules with the magic system and with, like, everything, so there's less research that goes into it, there's less pressure, I think, in my mind, so I would say both of those other projects are who I crave to be as a writer, or who I have my, like,
mm,
that's the version of me I have my sights set on, but there's more pressure and higher standards in that realm of writing for me than this fantasy project, which is why I think this is the perfect first completed thing to do because it allows me to stretch myself closer to that version. But yeah, I'd love to be a contemporary writer who can just grapple with the hard hitting things of life. I don't think I'm
mm.
quite that philosophical yet, but maybe I'll get there someday and maybe I'll say things wisely in a book. But right now, I'm having fun playing with magic and gifts and houses
Yeah.
and more. So yeah,
It's so interesting because, yeah, I feel like we're not opposite, but, like, I feel like that is very like, contending with serious themes is something I'm so, like, not naturally usually drawn to, and I think that's why, um, like, more hard-hitting contemporary feels so intimidating to me is
yeah,
because that's not usually where I enter a project from. I think I'm more of an
mhm,
escapist
yeah,
person when it comes to media rather than actually wanting to like face real life things. So it's so
totally.
interesting how I feel like the places we enter projects generally are different, but then we end up writing works with like a similar like vibe or core to it.
Yes,
It's
that's so
very
true.
interesting.
So true.
Uh-huh.
I think it's because in my like, my dream of that is a marriage between those 2 things. Because there's nothing I
Mhm.
love more than sitting down with a book and feeling like I literally can't get the world out of my head even when I go to work later that day or whatever, and I
Mhm.
crave to put readers in that much of an immersive environment, and that's where, like, romance comes in for me because like, that's what draws me through a story, and I'm always gonna have
Yeah.
those kinds of, like, real world things that make your heart go, "Ugh, I love it." But
Right.
yeah, I don't know. Like, I'm thinking about, have you ever read the book Where the Heart Is?
No.
Have you ever seen that movie? It's got, oh, what is her name? It really doesn't matter. Natalie Portman in it. But
Mm.
anyway, it's a really good book. I It was one of the first books I ever just picked up randomly off a shelf in the library, read, and, like, it went well. You know how sometimes you pick up a random book and you're like, "Oh, this was a
It's
bad choice?"
usually bad. It's
Yeah,
usually
that
bad.
one was like I I read it so fast, it was my freshman year of high school, um, and it was totally that. There was a romance element, it's about this single mom, and she is trying to grapple with, like, her baby daddy and her small town guy that's in love with her and all these things, but then you get to the end of the book, and the whole premise is, like, love and home and your life is just where your heart is. And there's
Aw.
like this underlying message. So the message is right in the title, but you don't realize it till you get to the end. And
Yeah.
that book, even though it's not some advanced like great American novel, I was like, this is what I want to do in terms of
Mm.
storytelling. Like it packs a punch when you get to the last page, but you have fun reading it the whole time. I love
Yes.
that.
Yes, yes, yes. I love that.
Uh, yes. I have to comment. This is so nice, Emily. Thank you. Being on a panel is my dream. I would love that.
Yes, you have panel energy for sure.
Ah, someday a writing podcast, all the things. Um, oh, Caitlin, this is sweet.
I'll be
So
there too in
okay.
the audience.
Yes. No, I'm gonna shove you up on that stage with me, Brielle. Put a matcha in your hand and just get up there, girl.
I'm dead.
Um, this is such you have to read that book. I'm now employing all of you. Go read Where the Heart Is. It's a quick read. You'll probably fly
Mhm.
through it. Um, I'm here for the inspiration, Alyssa, truly. Truly. Okay, well, we've gabbed long enough. Sorry about that, everybody. I think that was like 30 minutes of talking. Um, let's hop into, I think, at least just one more 30-minute sprint. And then if
Absolutely.
there's more to chat about afterwards, we can. But this was great, guys. Let me go ahead and get this ready for the next one. All right, everybody. Good luck. See you on the other
Good
side.
luck.
Mhm.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Oh, Jinx.
How was your sprint?
Mine was good. I got, I think, let me look. Well, I broke 2,800 words.
Me too.
Not 2,800, 28,000. Yeah,
Yeah,
let's
me
go.
too.
So I don't know how
That's
many
so
that was. I think it was
fun.
like 900 or something, but yeah, exciting.
That's so
It was fun.
exciting. Yeah, I think I got another 700, so I just did about 1,500 total for both sprints. But
Amazing.
yeah, I just broke 28K, 28,008 words.
I'm at
Oh
28,071. Look at us. Right next
my
to each
god,
other. So
that's
fun.
so cute.
Oh, Alyssa typed? Who is she? Who is she?
Wow, that's actually crazy.
Yeah. Were you just feeling the voice was a little tired or
Was
tell us
this
the
your first time
motivation?
typing of this whole project?
That's a good question. Was this the first you've typity typed in November?
That's crazy.
Olivia, 600 this time with some plot points. Yay. Awesome. 341. Oh, she's over 32,000. That's exciting.
Wow.
Great job. Stop keeping track of words. Sometimes that's what you need for the brain. I'll tell you
That's
what.
fair.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what. I do enjoy that. I think I've mentioned this, but I draft in Vellum and it just shows you total word count. It doesn't show you like in a chapter. So
Hmm.
sometimes I enjoy that I just see the overall go up. I don't actually know what I got per session. So everything feels like progress.
Nice. I like
Nice.
that.
Yes, Alyssa, tell us. I needed to slow the scene down. Oh, that's a smart strategy
Mm.
then. I like that. Force
Yeah.
yourself to dwell in it a little bit longer.
Mhm.
535. Um, Writing out a timeline for my book and got 312. That's great. Already got 400. Amazing.
Nice.
Yes, it was my first time typing. Some major typos. Hey, I'm sure if I did dictating, I would have a lot to fix. So you're just operating in a different realm these days.
True.
While thinking about characters. That counts. That counts.
Yes.
Delete more filler words. That's important. And also something I hate. Not looking forward to getting back into that. I abandoned my outline and instead started prepping for a D&D session this next month.
Ooh.
Wow. I've never played D&D, but I had friends in high school who did. Oh my goodness, Alyssa, yes. And then 447 words. Wow. Sounds like it was a good second sprint for everybody. I love that.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Most of
Hi,
this sprint
Mina.
comprised of me figuring out how to format text messages in this book. Oh, you're adding text messages? I love.
That's so exciting.
Can you
Love
spill more
that.
tea? Is it like mostly through your MCs or is it like your MC interacting with a different side character? What is it a little bit of everything? Tell us the tea. I want to know if it
Yeah.
pushes the main relationship forward or if it's subplot that you're pushing forward through that. Whoa, 2,800 for the day. That's awesome. Manuscript at
Wow.
41. Geez, did you start,
Ian.
yeah, did you start this in November? Because you are really close to 50K. You're gonna hit that no problem.
I think he did because I also think he started a few days late. I could be wrong, but that
Okay,
was what I
Ian,
thought.
what the heck? You are
Go
crazy for that.
off.
Caitlin, is there anything about the publishing process that y'all don't feel prepared for? Ooh, gosh, is it bad to say I'll know when it happens? Like, I feel like there are some aspects that I'm probably gonna learn about while I go through it because I've never published or self-published anything. Um, I feel like I've done a good amount of research, but you can't know everything, you know? Like, just like you think you know what it's like to write a book because you enjoy writing, but then you start writing a book and you're like, well, I'm learning a lot. So, anyway, I don't know. Brielle, maybe you chat because I feel like you have a lot of thoughts on self-publishing and a lot of wisdom.
Yeah, don't feel prepared for, I feel like is interesting because you could interpret it in multiple ways, but I think the whole process of just like setting up like a pre-order and like that more
Yeah.
technical side of like listing the book, I don't know a ton of like I don't know all the ins and outs of yet. Um, but I also feel pretty confident that I'll be able to find enough resources to teach me things. So I still feel prepared even if I don't have the information yet, if that makes sense. Like I feel
Yes.
like I know where I could seek out said information. Um, but yeah, I think that part and then just like planning the timelines of how soon before the release I should do everything. Like I have ideas, but I feel like that meticulous part of the publishing, the pre-publishing process is a little intimidating.
Yeah.
So,
And that is the part that, like, the next time you publish a book, you'll be able to use that experience from the first one to, like, hone that, but this first one
yeah.
literally is just, like, it's your first test of trial and error, so, like, yeah, it is just kind of an element of, like, you do what you can to research it, you prepare how you can, and then you just see how it goes. And then
Yeah.
maybe next time you're like, "I should have a longer pre-order window," or, "I should have a shorter one," or whatever, you know?
Yes. Yes, exactly. Also, the TikTok marketing, I'm not prepared for. I really don't like making short form videos, so but I know how key it is to marketing books. So, I'm gonna be dragging my feet on that one.
I know this is dumb. I have an irrational fear of TikTok. Not
Me
actually,
too.
but, like, okay, good to hear,
No,
'cause
me too. That's
it
not
is
dumb.
okay, it is the one platform I have never gotten addicted to. Like, I've been on it for 5 minutes, and then I was like, "This just isn't for me," which is funny because I do like Instagram Reels, but I
Hmm.
actually haven't had Instagram on my phone in, like, 2 months, which is like,
Damn.
"Woohoo." I've just been taking a break, but I'm a little afraid because YouTube feels so personable and community oriented to
Yes.
me, and I love the long form content. Um, so I think I have a lot of hesitation of I know it's gonna take a lot of time to build an audience on TikTok, at least one that's marketable, and
Mhm.
I don't wanna do it. Like, I don't wanna be that
Yeah.
involved on another social media platform. So, anyway, sucks that self-publishing is conducive to
Yeah.
self-marketing as well, like, you really gotta put the 2 hand in hand, so we'll see.
From what I've seen from self-published authors, it actually seems like a lot of their sales don't come from, like, necessarily followers they've built on TikTok, but, like, one video getting shown to a
Mm,
bunch of strangers and then their
yeah,
sales spike. But I'm the thought of, like, trying to reach strangers is so foreign to me because I feel like with YouTube, it feels like I'm creating content for the like my audience, like the people who I
totally.
know and who watch me consistently. So the idea of trying to reach people who have never seen me before every time I post a piece of content sounds
Yeah.
exhausting. So I'm
No,
like, ah,
seriously, like, pushing out your book to or your story to people who have followed you on YouTube feels, like, so much safer because
yes.
you really have to be sitting in front of a camera chatting to people on YouTube and, like, bearing your thoughts to people, and if
Mhm.
they like you and they like what you have to say, then they can subscribe, and that feels like a safer environment to be like, "Would you like to also read my work?" But
Right.
in short form content, to be marketable, you're probably even though, we're lovely people and sure, our personalities are marketable, we're probably not bearing our thoughts and, like, all our
Right.
creative things to people. It's just, like, whatever I think the thing for me that makes me go, "Ah," is that TikTok can be so focused in Instagram Reels, but can be so focused on trends and tropes, and that's what makes it
Mhm.
blow up, and I'm like, I'm a little afraid of reaching an audience that's only buying my book because I market it as enemies to lovers, but at the same time,
Mm.
I'm like, that's what success might look like is getting it in the
Right.
hands of people who are willing to read that trope. So that's a whole wheelhouse of emotions I'll have to work through when that day comes. For now, I'm not gonna worry
Yeah.
about it. Not gonna worry
Oh,
about it.
it's so complex. I also sorry,
Yes.
I have more thoughts on this, so I'm gonna keep chatting about it a little bit. But I'm a big believer that you can't it's really hard to effectively create content that you don't consume. Like,
Mhm.
I feel like it would be really hard to start a YouTube channel if you don't watch YouTube videos. You just don't know the flow,
Yeah.
you don't know the pacing, blah, like you don't know the standards. Same thing with writing. It's why you need to read to write. So I feel that way about TikTok. I'm like, I have no interest in consuming short form content. So I wouldn't even know where to start when it comes to creating it because I don't know the platform and I don't want to get to know it, you know?
Mhm. That's
So
why I
it's
wish I
so
was just big
tricky.
enough already that I could hire someone to do that for
Yeah,
me, but I'm like, that day is not anywhere close. But
right. And
someday my
obviously,
dream would be like YouTube is the content I still stay involved with, but that
yes.
other things can be something I'm not worried about.
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
don't we all wish that?
ideally, once people like you, they'll spread the word and you won't have to
True.
incessantly market your own book because word of mouth will be doing that for you. That's like the cream of the cream, like that's the goal, right? But
Yes, yes,
yeah.
that's true. This is some tea. Maybe this will help us out. Apparently, we're
Oh,
losing TikTok soon, so I would feel more comfortable marketing on Instagram than TikTok. I just feel like it's
me
a
too.
safer platform. So if I had to do short form content on Instagram, I think I'm very familiar with that platform and would feel like I can do this well.
Yeah.
TikTok, I'm like, I have no idea what's going on. Um, Amina, this is fun. Which emojis would you guys use to describe your book?
Ooh. That is a great question. I'm like, I need to go look at the emojis
I
now.
think I have 2 in mind. I
Okay.
think I would do the dark moon emoji, like the one that's like a black
Ooh.
moon, and then the wave emoji that's like the ocean. I would do those 2.
Mm. I think I would do the swords crossing,
Classic.
the heart on fire, and and I think that might be my final answer. Just those two. Yeah, yeah,
That's good. I love that. I hope you guys are
yeah.
so enthralled with our books by the end of the honestly, swords and a burning heart is all I need to get on the page. I'm ready for it.
Exactly, exactly.
Um, TikTok is one of those things where it's not addicting and then it is. I had recently yeah. That was Instagram for me. Like, I have no issue reining myself in on YouTube or anything. Like, really, I only use YouTube and Instagram. Um, and now I'm only using YouTube because Instagram was just too much. So I found myself just mindlessly like scrolling, and I don't want to be that.
Mm.
Bleh. I'd rather write or pick up a book and read than sit on the couch and do those things. So anyway, let's see. Is there any other good questions in the chat? Oh wow, we've got a lot of thoughts on
Yeah,
TikTok. Actually, wow. Okay, TikTok
very
is a blessing
interesting.
and a curse. I get so much inspo for my book there, but also so much. Yeah, this is true. Damage it will do for your attention span. Yes.
Mhm.
You know what? But that's why it's incredible that we're out here doing writing sprints and writing a book. The attention span it takes, we're probably like
Is
proactively
ridiculous.
counteracting this as we go through, you know? But I do
Yeah.
find myself sometimes in like a 20-minute YouTube video towards the end being like, okay, you know what I mean? And then I'm like, no, Andy, no, because like my attention span just starts to dwindle. Not all the
Wait,
time,
that's
but
so interesting. I feel like my attention span is still pretty decent. Like, I still watch everything at 1 time speed. Like, I know some people really
oh, I do
speed up
that too.
everything they watch.
I can't do
I don't
that.
know. If I like someone, I'm sat. They could talk for 50 minutes and I'll be there with a snack, like
That's fair. That's fair. No, I totally get that. I totally get that. Dami said she's with you, don't like it, and had to accept that and move on. I think that's unfortunately what I'm going to have to come to at some point.
Yep.
As someone who does marketing on TikTok for a podcast, it's nearly impossible. You have absolutely no control over yes. Yes. Okay. So I have a friend who sings and she is trying to kind of get some ground as a artist, and she's used TikTok as her main platform, and she's reached like 5,000 subscribers, which is apparently hard to do on TikTok, like
Mhm.
getting past there. But she said that everything is so inconsistent. Like she'll have a video that gets sorry, 11,000 views and the next one gets like 300, and there's literally it's hard to map out consistency of what the algorithm likes and pushes out versus what they don't like. And I think you see some of that on YouTube, but I feel like if you stick at it long enough in YouTube, things will just generally, even if you have a video that backslides, like you're always going like this, like one step back, two steps forward. And TikTok to me feels like one step forward, two steps back is the way that you progress.
Mhm.
And that feels hard,
Oh, I
you know?
agree. And I also think there's like there was a lot of talk about this because like TikTokers would go to like a meet and greet and like no one would show up, and people were talking about how with a platform like that, because everything's so snappy, short film, like short form, short attention span, people don't care about the creators they're watching on there, and I think that's why you don't get that consistent viewership is cuz people like one of your snappy videos,
Yeah.
but they might not remember your face, your name, like what you do,
Yes.
like they don't get personally invested whatsoever because they don't spend enough time with you. And
Yeah.
so that's why I'm such a YouTube like diehard because I'm
Yeah.
like the personal connection you cannot get on any other platform.
No, seriously. And when you think about the fact that what you just said connects to the fact of like what you write is an expression of what's in your mind and like who you
Mhm.
are. So it's like going back to that, not just a safer audience, but a more engaged audience too. Like
Yeah.
I feel like it's going to a group of people that are probably going to appreciate things I have to say. And that
Mhm.
feels like awesome, you know? And then also I feel like if you let's say I made most of my self-publishing sales through a YouTube platform rather than short-term form content, I would also feel less hurt by any critique or feedback I get from that audience because they probably have watched a video or two and know a little bit about who I am versus just one person saw a brief TikTok about a trope, got my book, and then left me a hate comment on Amazon or something.
Mhm.
Um, So anyway, I know that probably is coming out of a place of me being afraid to like really just get out there to people who don't know me, but I feel like that's probably also first project jitters. Like
Yeah,
I've never
totally.
put anything out in the world, therefore I'm the most nervous now than I probably ever will be. Um,
Mhm.
but anyway, yeah, so many thoughts on this topic. My
Same.
husband would love this comment. He is a huge Dune fan. Like, I'm not kidding. After we saw Dune 2, he walked around the house going, "My name is Paul Muad'Dib Atreides." That one line. I'm like, oh my word. So anyway, I'm gonna tell him you said this because he's gonna be obsessed with that. I love it.
That's amazing.
I did. Wait, drop her name. Whose name? What are we talking about?
The singer on TikTok that you mentioned that
Oh,
was your friend?
oh, yeah, it's Rachel Neal Music. Neal spelled Neal. She sings country music. She's very gifted. She's my childhood
Cute.
best friend. Her mom and my mom were best friends in middle school. And then
Mm,
when they had us, we've been best friends. So I've been friends with her for 20, almost 24 years. Longest
mm.
friend. So
That's so
fun.
sweet.
Oh, Natalie, 2.3 million on
Oh,
TikTok. Okay. Oh yeah, have never
oh,
see, also, yeah,
see.
the conversion rate of a viral video, I feel is a lot lower. But I
Mhm.
can't
I
read it.
feel like people talk up how easy it is to go viral on TikTok, and I think it's, like, low key a little bit of bullshit. Like, I feel like it's
Yeah,
sold as this, like, golden platform of, like, TikTok could change your life overnight, and I'm like, "Guys, let's be so real." Like, I
yeah,
think that's not realistic, and I don't think that's, like, what you should be promoting to people either. Like,
yeah,
why are you on social media? Like, if it's just to get, like,
yeah,
viral, then, like, okay, go try TikTok. But I feel like for both of us and probably for a lot of people on AuthorTube, there's, like, a fulfillment aspect and a
mhm.
community aspect.
Yes, yes,
So
because the people I find on TikTok are not gonna be the people sitting at my panel. I wanna
mhm,
find the people sitting at
mhm.
my panel. That's funny. Um, this is great. TikTok is like 1 step forward, 79 steps backwards, 4 leaps forward, and then a gajillion miles back, and then 1 step forward again. I can hear you saying that in my head, Alyssa. Like, I can picture you saying that to a camera in a video. It'd be so funny.
Yes.
Okay, well, this is great. We are going on 2 hours, but I do wanna let people get back to their lives. I haven't eaten dinner yet. I don't know about you, Brielle, but, anyway, this is always lovely. Love hanging out with you, and thanks everybody for filling the chat and hanging out. I will be live again tomorrow night, so shameless plug. Hopefully, you don't have to deal with me being so congested and that things get better by then. But it'll be my last individual stream of November before I stream with Alyssa a week from tonight. So be prepared to tune in next Monday night for me and Alyssa to hang out.
That's
So
so
anyway,
fun.
any plugs you'd like to add, Brielle?
Uh Sure. First of all, thank you, Andy, for having me. This was so fun. And I will be in the audience for you and Alyssa's stream, hopefully. You can find me on YouTube, Brielle Writes, or on Instagram at Brielle is Writing. And yeah, thanks for having me. This was
And
so
check out her
productive.
critique services. Woo!
Oh, thanks. So sweet.
Fun. All right. Well, I love you all. You're the best. Go watch my new video because it's not doing well. Okay, bye.
Bye.